nisam tako visoka. Ja. Dobro jutro svima, Gospod s vama. Mislim da mogu, ali imam neki riječi da ne znam u hrvatski, onda Bosa molim te dođi, mene pomozi. Moje ime je Angelica, ja sam iz Meksika. Dobro, nisam savršena, nisam Hrvatica, ali ok, sve ok. Sprema si? Ok, dobro. Rodila sam u kršćanskoj obitelji. I was born in a Christian family.
Dobro, rođena sam u kršćanskoj obitelji.
My parents were pastors.
Moji roditelji su pastori.
Imali su, yeah. They had a big church.
Imaju veliku crkvu.
I they always had people in the house for prayer.
Imali su ljude u posjeti u kući radi molitve.
But I was always, in the meetings and the prayers, but I was not a Christian.
Bila sam uvijek dio tih molitava, sastanaka, ali nisam bila kršćanka.
I said, okay, that's for my parents, that's for the church. To je to.
Moj stav je bio, to je za moje roditelje, to je za crkvu, nije za mene.
And then one day when we had prayer meetings, like you have here on Wednesdays,
jednog dana, dok smo imali molitveni sastanak kao što je ovdje u srijedu,
I saw one sister.
Vidjela sam jednu sestru.
And she was praying.
Ona je molila.
And you can see so much peace in her face.
Vidjeli ste toliko mira na njenom licu.
And then I said, God, if you're real,
i onda sam rekla Bogu, Bože, ako si ti stvaran,
I want to feel you like she's feeling you.
Ja želim tebe osjetiti kao što te ona osjeća.
I don't want to know that you're real because my parents tell me that you're real.
Ne želim znati da si ti stvaran zato što moji roditelji kažu da si ti stvaran.
And I don't want to know that you're real because they say you're real.
Da oni imaju taj odnos s tobom.
So I want to feel you right now.
Ja želim da tebe osjetim osobno.
And as soon as I finished saying that,
i čim sam završila tu rečenicu,
I felt two big arms hugging me.
Osjetila sam dvije velike ruke kako me grle.
And they were very warm.
Bile su jako tople.
And I started crying.
I počela sam plakati.
And then I heard a very gentle whisper.
I tada sam čula nježan šapat.
In my ear.
U moje uho.
And you can only hear that when somebody is really close to you.
I takav nježan šapat možeš jedino osjetiti ako je neko vrlo blizu tebe.
And he said, I'm here.
I on je rekao, ovdje sam.
I onda rekao sam, wow, okay, you're real.
Ti si stvaran.
And I gave my heart to Jesus.
Ja sam dala moje srce Isusu.
And from that day I knew that God was real.
Od toga dana nadalje ja sam znala da Bog je stvaran.
He speaks.
On govori.
And he loves us.
I on nas voli.
But through my life I've experienced God in different phases.
Kroz moj život osjetila sam razne oblike objave Boga.
After some years we went as missionaries, the whole family, to India. India.
Nakon nekoliko godina cijela naša obitelj je otišla u Indiju kao misionari.
We lived there for more than 10 years.
Tamo smo živjeli više od 10 godina.
And then being a Christian and a missionary, it's illegal in India.
It is legal.
Illegal.
A biti misionar u Indiji nije legalno.
So they kicked my parents out of the country.
Morali smo otići izvan zemlje.
Ne, samo moji roditelji.
Roditelji su morali izaći iz Indije.
And then I stayed behind with my brother.
I ja sam ostala u Indiji sa mojim bratom.
I was 16 years old when it happened.
Imala sam 16 godina kada se to dogodilo.
And then I was all alone.
Bila sam sama.
Only with my brother.
Samo sa mojim bratom.
In a different country.
U različitoj zemlji.
With no parents.
Bez roditelja.
And I felt helpless.
I osjetila sam se bespomoćnom.
And I said, okay, God.
Ja sam rekla, okay, Bože.
I know you're real.
Znam da si stvaran.
You called us here.
Ti si nas pozvao ovdje.
But I need you.
Ali te trebam.
And from that day I experienced God as my father.
I od toga dana da dalje iskusila sam Boga kao mog oca.
Like a real father who takes care of his children.
Kao stvarnog oca koji se brine za svoju djecu.
When we had nothing to eat, he provided.
Kada nismo imali ništa za jesti, on se pobrinuo.
When we were in danger, he protected us.
Kada smo bili u opasnosti, on nas je zaštitio.
And I can tell you 100% sure.
I mogu vam reći da sam 100% sigurna.
That God is the best father you can ever have.
Da je Bog najbolji otac kojega možete imati.
He's always willing to take care of you.
On je uvijek voljan da se pobrine za tebe.
And then, a
tada,
few weeks ago,
prije nekoliko tjedana,
I experienced God as my true friend.
Ja sam iskusila Boga kao mog iskrenog prijatelja.
I was in Israel.
Bila sam u Izraelu.
I had a mission for my church to go there and meet people.
Imala sam misijski poziv iz moje crkve da idem tamo i sretnem se sa ljudima.
For new missionaries that come to Israel, so they have contact. So I was the person assigned to do that.
Znači za nove misionare da odu u Izrael i da uspostave kontakte. I ja sam bila određena za to.
And after a few days that I arrived,
I nakon nekoliko dana što sam stigla,
the war started.
počeo je rat.
We were supposed to have church on subota.
Trebali smo imati crkvu u subotu.
Saturday, 6 o'clock in the morning,
U subotu u 6 ujutro,
the war sirens started to ring.
Sirene koje su oglašavale rat su počele se oglašavati.
And that was my first experience or my first war in my life.
First war
in my life, da.
In your life.
Pa to ne kažem da želim druge ili samo to.
To je bilo moje prvo takvo iskustvo.
And the sound of the sirens, it just paralyzes you.
Taj zvuk sirene te paralizira.
Because you know the worst is coming.
Jel znaš da najgore dolazi?
And for once in your life you feel that there is no safe place for you.
I jednom u svom životu osjećaš da nema sigurnog mjesta za tebe.
And you hear all the rockets exploding in the sky.
I čuješ rakete koje eksplodiraju u nebu.
And that sound really goes into your bones.
I taj strah ti ulazi u kosti.
And you see people running and screaming in the streets.
Vidiš ljude kako trče i vrište na ulici.
And they're in panic trying to get somewhere safe.
I u panici si i pokušavaš biti na sigurnom.
And I was very close to Gaza.
Gaza. Bila sam blizu Gaze.
And we heard about all the terrorists going in the streets.
I čuli smo da teroristi ulaze u ulice.
So we were warned to go inside our safe room.
I bili smo upozoreni da uđemo u sklonište.
And the worst thing is that our safe room didn't have a handle.
Najgora stvar je da naše sklonište nije imalo ključ.
And that was very stressing.
Ja sam bila jako u stresu.
Okay, so you can close the door, but you cannot lock it.
Možeš zatvoriti vrata od skloništa, ali ne možeš zaključati.
And then you go into the room and you're very quiet, try to remain calm.
I onda uđeš u sobu i tih si i pokušavaš ostati smiren.
And then you hear gunshots everywhere.
I onda čuješ pucanje svugdje.
And people start to scream because they're in panic, they're desperate.
Ljudi počinju vrištati jer su u panici, jer su očajni.
And there were a lot of older people and children in the room that I was.
Bilo je puno ljudi starije životne dobi i djece u skloništu.
And their faces were white of being scared.
I njihova lica su bila bijela od straha.
I onda, and then došla sam sebe.
Zatim sam došla sebi. Came to my senses.
And I was like, I cannot be scared.
I onda sam se podsjetila, pa ja ne trebam biti uplašena.
I have a God who's real.
Ja imam Boga koji je stvaran.
And I have a God who is a father.
Ja imam Boga koji je otac.
And I have a God that has everything under control.
Ja imam Boga koji ima sve pod kontrolom.
So I was trying to be brave.
Pokušala sam biti hrabra.
And I stood up from a very tiny corner.
Ja sam se ustala iz tog nekog kuta skloništa gdje sam se nalazila.
And I started talking to people like, don't worry, it's gonna pass.
I počela sam razgovarati sa ljudima na način, nemojte se brinuti, to će proći.
God has everything under control.
Bog ima sve pod kontrolom.
And when I was saying that, I thought I was being brave.
I kad sam to izgovarala, sam mislila da sam hrabra.
And then I looked at my hands.
I onda sam pogledala u moje ruke.
And they were really shaking like this.
I moje su se ruke doslovno tresle od straha.
I put it back in my bag.
Onda sam bolje sakrila ruke iza leđa.
And I tried to get my Croatian side out of me, you know. Your Croatian brave side out of me.
Croatian brave side.
Da. Kao vi kažete, pa neće ništa se goditi, sve je okej.
Počela sam moju hrabru stranu bića pokazivati. Neće se ništa loše dogoditi, sve će biti dobro.
But in my heart and in my thoughts, I was crying to God.
Ali u mom srcu i u mojim mislima ja sam vapila, plakala Bogu.
And I said, you need to protect us.
I rekla sam Bogu, trebaš nas zaštititi.
And then we heard two big explosions.
Zatim sam čula dvije velike eksplozije u blizini.
And when we heard that, everybody started crying, and I said, God, we need you.
I kada smo to čuli, svi su počeli plakati. Ja sam rekla, Bože, mi te trebamo.
And when I said that, I felt like somebody put their hands like, do something.
I kada sam to izgovorila, osjetila sam kao da je neko stavio svoju ruku na moju ruku i rekao, tu sam.
And then I lifted my eyes to see everybody around.
I podigla sam moje oči da čujem ljude oko mene u skloništu.
And they all held somebody. They were all hugging somebody.
I svako je grlio nekoga.
And then I was all alone in the middle.
I ja sam tamo stajala sama u sredini.
And then my emotions came to my heart.
I onda su se moje emocije pojavile.
I was like, okay, they have somebody to help them, to comfort them.
I onda sam rekla, svatko ima nekoga da ga utješi.
But who's comforting me?
A ko tješi mene?
What if I get scared? Who's there to tell me, to encourage me or something?
Ja sam uplašena, tko će me ohrabriti?
And I felt that hand in my shoulder.
Ja sam osjetila tu ruku na mom ramenu.
And he said again, I'm here.
I on je ponovno rekao, ja sam ovdje.
So we went to our beds.
Otišli smo
That
u
night.
naše krevete, pod navodnicima.
And then all the people from the building,
I svi ljudi iz zgrade,
they came to our little church room.
i oni su došli u našu malu crkvenu sobu.
And they said, we cannot sleep, can we stay here with you?
I ljudi iz zgrade su rekli, mi onako ne možemo spavati, da li možemo biti sa vama ovdje?
So they came and they were all on the floor.
Došli su i svi su bili na podu.
And I started praying out loud.
I počeli smo moliti glasno.
And they all fell asleep,
Svi su zaspali,
but I couldn't sleep.
a ja nisam mogla spavati.
I could just hear the explosions and the sirens and the shots and everything. I could not sleep.
Čula sam eksplozije, sirene, pucnjeve i nisam mogla spavati.
I didn't sleep for more than 10 days.
I to je trajalo više od 10 dana.
And coffee became my very strong medicine.
Sorry?
Coffee became my medicine.
Kava je postala moj lijek.
I think mainly like 12 cups of coffee a day maybe.
Možda 12 šalica kave dnevno sam popila.
Because I felt like I needed to be awake. If somebody needed help, I needed to be there.
Osjećala sam da trebam biti budna i ako neko treba pomoć da trebam biti tu.
And then I remembered
I sjetila sam se
that God promised to be with us in our most difficult time.
da je Bog obećao da će biti s nama u našim najtežim vremenima.
That He really is close to you.
On je stvarno blizu tebe.
And He never leaves you in your most difficult times. He never leaves you.
I nikad te ne pušta u tvom najtežim vremenima.
He promised to be every single second of the day with you.
On je obećao da će biti svake pojedine sekunde kroz dan sa tobom.
And he has your back, whatever you go through.
I on čuva tvoja leđa kroz šta god prolaziš.
And I will finish with this testimony from people in church there in Israel.
I ja ću završiti sa ovo svjedočanstvo sa riječima crkve u Izraelu.
All men and women are called to the army.
Svi muškarci i žene su pozvani u vojsku.
So at the end we were only children and old people in church and me.
U crkvi su ostali starci, djeca i ja.
And there was one couple that they were in their apartment,
Bili su jedan bračni par u svom apartmanu.
husband and wife. They were both military trained.
Pastor i njegova supruga, oni su bili vojno educirani.
So they had guns in their house.
Imali su pištolje u kući, puške.
And they heard the terrorists coming to the street.
I čuli su teroriste kako dolaze u ulicu.
And then the husband looked outside the window.
I muž je pogledao kroz prozor
And he saw everybody coming out with masks and big guns coming out of the car.
i vidio je ljude zamaskirane i naoružane kako izlaze iz auta.
And they started to enter the building where they lived.
I oni su počeli ulaziti u zgradu gdje je ovaj par živio.
And he said
I on je rekao,
to his wife, they're coming, get ready.
Rekao je svojoj supruzi, oni dolaze, budi spremna.
So she went to the kitchen, got the knife she could get.
Ona je otišla u kuhinju, uzela je nož, to je bilo sve što je mogla.
And he got the guns he had in the house.
I on je uzeo to oružje koje je imao u kući.
And they had 3 small children.
I imali su 3 male djece.
And they put him in the last room, the most secure room in the house.
Djecu su stavili u posljednju sobu, najsigurniju pod navodnicima u kući.
The oldest was 11. The oldest child
Najstarije
was 11.
dijete je bilo staro 11
So he
godina.
came to the room.
On je došao u sobu.
He gave one gun to the oldest kid.
Dao je jednu tu pušku najstarijem djetetu
And he said,
i rekao je,
this is a gun.
ovo je puška.
I hope you never have to use it.
Nadam se da nikad nećeš morati to koristiti.
This is how it works.
Ovako to funkcionira.
Whoever comes through that door, you shoot.
Kogod uđe na ova vrata, pucaj.
It doesn't matter who it is, you start shooting and you keep your brother and sister safe.
Bez obzira ko ulazi, ti pucaš i čuvaš brata i sestru.
And as soon as he said that, he heard somebody open the door of
I
their house.
čim je to izgovorio, čuo je da neko otvara vrata kuće.
So he locked the door where the
Zaključio
children
je
were,
vrata.
and his wife and him, they started, fighting.
Zaključio je vrata gdje su bila djeca i on i njegova supruga su se počeli boriti.
And he says there were four guys with machine guns inside their house.
I on je rekao da su bila 4 vojnika sa, kako se to kaže, sa mitraljezom u kući.
Mm-hmm. Then they started shooting everybody.
Počeli su pucati na sve.
And he got hurt in the leg and his wife got hurt in the arm with gunshots.
On je bio propucan u nogu, njegova žena u rame.
But his wife could only say Jesus.
Ali njegova supruga je jedino mogla izgovoriti Isuse.
And when she said Jesus,
I kada je izgovorila Isuse,
one of the guys with masks said,
jedan od vojnika sa maskom je rekao,
there is somebody else in the building, we have to go.
Još neko je u ovoj zgradi, moramo otići.
So they ran out and they went down the stairs and they got in the car and they left.
Oni su istrčali iz sobe i iz zgrade, otišli u auto i otišli.
And that's a big testimony.
I to je veliko svjedočanstvo.
Because they could have been killed,
Oni su mogli biti ubijeni
or in the best circumstances they could have taken hostage like many of the people.
ili su u najboljem slučaju pod navodnicima mogli biti zatočeni kao taoci, kao drugi ljudi.
And after that they were able to share their testimony to other people around.
I nakon toga ovaj bračni par je mogao podijeliti svoje svjedočanstvo ljudima u okolini.
So you do have a best friend with you.
Dakle, vi imate najboljeg prijatelja sa sobom.
And he's not only the best friend in the world.
On ne samo da je najbolji prijatelj na svijetu.
He's the most powerful.
On je najsnažniji.
And the best thing about him
I najbolja stvar u vezi njega.
is that he loves taking care of you.
On voli brinuti se za tebe.
And he's really interested in taking care of you.
I on je uistinu zainteresiran u vezi toga da se brine za tebe.
So I just want to remind you,
Želim vas podsjetiti.
whenever you're going through difficult times,
Kad god prolazite kroz teško vrijeme,
remember you have somebody who's watching your back.
uvijek se sjetite da imate nekoga koji čuva vaša leđa.
Someone who's very interested in your safety
Netko koji je jako zainteresiran za vašu sigurnost
and in your health.
i za vaše zdravlje.
So I want to invite you that every day when you drink coffee,
I želim vas podsjetiti da svaki dan kada pijete kavu,
that you drink coffee with Jesus.
da pijete kavu sa Isusom.
Maybe I'm crazy or I got crazy in the war, but get your coffee.
Možda sam luda ili sam poludjela biti dio rata, ali u svakom slučaju uzmite vašu kavu.
Sit on the table
Sjedite na vaš stol
and talk to Jesus
i razgovarajte sa Isusom.
like he's really there.
Kao da je on stvarno tu.
Because he's really there.
Jer on stvarno je tu.
He wants to hear what's in your heart.
On želi čuti šta je u vašem srcu.
He wants to hear what's worrying you.
On želi čuti o onome što vas brine.
And at the end he wants to hug you and tell you, I'm here.
I za kraj, on vas želi zagrliti i reći ja sam tu.
You're never alone.
Nikad nisi sam ili sama.
Whatever you go through,
Šta god prolaziš,
I got you.
imam te, čuvam te.
And I want to finish with this Bible verse.
Želim završiti sa biblijskim stihom.
Mihej 7:7.
Kako?
Mika 7.
Mihej 7. You want to read in Croatian?
Može. To Mihej 7 glava i stihove 7 stih, kad kaže ovako.
Mihej 7:7.
A ja prema Jahvi, ja sam sagledan. Čekam na boj koji spašava, Bog moj mene će uslišati. Onda znamo da mi imamo veliki Bog, svemogući Bog. I on uvijek će biti s nama. Božji blagoslov. Hvala Bože.